take your places.
Different things like that. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Just stick that under here. I don't think that's... I don't really know how this one itself... Do you like it? No? Yeah, it's this one boils down to the building that they want to build across the street here. This 70, but it's... Yeah, you want to try to read that? Yeah, I know.
Good evening, everyone watching at home. We're live here in Dundas at Dundas Town Hall for the Ward 13 City Councillor Candidates Debate. We are in an overflow room that's standing room only, so it's clear that people in Dundas are engaged and looking forward to this opportunity. This is the only public debate for all the candidates that's occurring in the election, and of course we have 1 week left to people vote, so this is going to be a very interesting debate to watch to see, does it help voters here in Dundas decide who is going to replace longtime councillor Russ Powers? At the risk of disconnecting the connection here, I'm actually going to do a quick pan for you at home so you can see just how full the room is here. So once again, for those of you just joining us at home, we're live here in Dundas for the All Candidates Ward 13 Council, or Ward 13 City Council All Candidates Debate. It's hosted by the Dundas Chamber of the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, Dundas Chapter of the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, and we'll begin momentarily.
Water, then we'll just get started.
It's what I do. It's what I do every once in a while. What, mine? Like, actually, now I'm kind of glad I did not get Tim Hortons, because I feel like people would look at me longingly because of my cup of joe. Make a time. Yeah, it's... You know what? There are like 3 or 4 questions specifically about the building.
So I'll wrap it into a specifically pertaining to this, but more generally development in Dundas. What's your position? Yeah. Shared development.
Okay, so these 2 are about that. Hi, Tara Cornelli. Want to go?
Yes. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. My name's Edward.
Okay.
Oh yeah, like, because it takes a while before they get to us, right? Intro candidates, yeah. All right. Sorry, there you go. There's little ways to go.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your patience. We're starting maybe a minute or two after 7. My name is Allison Wenzowski, and I'm the past chair of the Dundas Division of the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. And it's my pleasure tonight and my honor to invite you to attend the All Candidates debate for the Dundas Ward. I believe that's Ward 13, right? Yes. And of course, we know we vote on Wednesday, October 27th. I'm just going to tell you something briefly. Oh. Pardon?
Monday.
What?
You said Wednesday.
What, next Monday? The election? Okay, so it's next Monday. Hey, you know what? But I've lightened everything up. Okay, that's good. So, and you're all paying attention. So, and I'm awake now too. So just a little bit about the Dundas Division of the Hamilton Chamber. We meet once a month. It's the third Wednesday of the month, and it's now at the Dundas Museum. And a few things the Dundas Division does. They organize the seniors dinner, which is in September, in conjunction with the Dundas Division, with the Dundas BIA. They help with the Christmas tree lighting. They take part in the Cactus Festival Parade, and they also put on these kind of these debates for civic, provincial, and federal elections. So now to get on with why we're here, it's my pleasure now to introduce to you your moderator for this evening, Alex Szabo. Alex is a longtime Dundas business person and a longtime member of the Dundas Division of the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce. Alex, take it over.
Thank you, Allison. She meant we will all know by Wednesday. First of all, I'd like to welcome all of you here for this very important evening. I would like to introduce the panelists to you. Representing the Dundas BIA, we have Tara Crugnell. Representing the Dundas Senior Citizens Club, we have Blanche Dingle. Representing the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, President and CEO, Keenan Loomis. Representing the Dundas Churches, Ed Beard. Now I'd like to introduce the candidates to you in alphabetical order. From my left, Mr. Rick Court. You can acknowledge them. Pamela Mitchell. Kevin Norton. Mark Risdale. Dana Sheemy. Arlene Vanderbeek. Toby Hugh. We have questions from the floor, and those questions will be passed on to the panelists. The panelists will be picking the questions. We're going to have the candidates' opening remarks, which are going to be 2 minutes. And we're going to start from alphabetical order, from my left. We're going to have closing remarks that we're going to do in reverse order. And each question, they will have 1 minute to answer. So at this point, for the opening remarks, I would like to start with, let me set the time, with Rick Court.
Are you going to say go?
Go.
In early September, I pledged to walk at least 1 million steps in my campaign trail before Election Day to meet the voters and understand the issues. I have almost reached my goal. Along the way, I've knocked on thousands of doors in every neighborhood in Dundas. I've shaken the hands and looked into the eyes of hundreds of voters who've shared their concerns about our town and our city. I have listened and have come to three important conclusions. One, Dundas is a very special place and no one wants to see it change. Yes, we have some issues. Some, like Governor's Road, are urgent and require immediate attention. But overall, everyone believes this is the best place to raise a family, make lifelong friends, and eventually retire. No one wants to see any development that's not in keeping with the character of the town. The City of Hamilton, on the other hand, is broken, as reflected in our too high taxes and declining services. Also, the never-ending red tape blocking the city's progress and the multi-million-dollar projects that make no sense to begin with, and even less sense when they are finally finished. I fear LRT is one of these projects, an incomplete solution that will impact our taxes for generations to come, a project that would never have my support as City Council. In short, Dundas taxpayers are not getting value for their money. The final conclusion I've come to is that I'm the right person to be your next councillor. Think of it this way. If this were a regular job that we were applying for, what would the qualifications look like? Education. I have an MBA in finance from Mac and a master's in logistics from York. Business experience. I've been a CEO of 3 companies, CFO of several more. Overall, I have 40 years experience in business, working at mid to large companies in technology, finance, marketing, and logistics. Finance experience. I was a senior corporate banker for 20 years with accounts like Chrysler and General Motors. I was on the finance committee of Hamilton Health Sciences. I understand financial statements and big budgets. Leadership experience. As Mohawk's Dean of Business, I was responsible for 6,000 students. As CEO of my own technology company, I led us to record profits and a successful sale. Community experience. I've been an active volunteer on several boards and a fundraiser for many charities. Customer service experience. Over my various jobs, I have had thousands of customers and always understood who pays the bills. The only thing missing from the list is political experience. I have none. This enabled me, however, to look at things with unbiased eyes and my common sense approach. I am part of the solution, not part of the problem. Thank you.
Pamela Mitchell.
Good evening. I'm a candidate for Ward 13. I'm on ODSP, which doesn't really puts me at a good advantage, but I try my best to budget, and I want to see a better Dundas for the citizens here. I stand up for good values. I want to see better changes for Dundas, better bus service, seniors, free bus pass, 71 to 90 plus, free ID bus pass, 65 to 70. I want to see a picture ID bus pass where they pay $100 a year, low income, and they get on free on the HSR bus. I want to see the HSR buses cleaned up daily. I would like to have a garbage bag on each bus, like the Burlington bus, so that patrons can dispose of their garbage instead of throwing it on the bus. The bus is not a garbage dump, and I want bus drivers to respect customers on the bus. Children should get on free from newborn to age 6. They should get on free with a parent, with a grandparent, with a responsible adult. From age 7 to 12, I would like to see children pay $1 cash fare on the HSR bus. not the adult bus fare that is currently in effect. Housing. I'd like to see a better housing system in the city of Dundas. We don't need any more condos. Amica is considered a condo. There is a condo going up across from City Hall. We don't need that. We need sustainable housing for poor people and low income. And I live in low income housing, and rules have to change that it's sustainable. We cannot just throw people out for stupid excuses like fire inspectors coming in and say, oh, we don't like what's on your door. You can't have a Christmas wreath on the door. That's unfair. I want to change city workers, that they are responsible for taxpayers' money. Thank you.
I will allow a little leadway in the opening and closing, but to a certain point.
May I ask the candidates stand up so we can see them, please?
You mean while they're speaking? Well, it's kind of difficult because the mics are on the table, so it would be a little difficult. Could you maybe just stand up so everybody could see you? Okay. We'll start. Kevin Norton.
Good evening. It's on now? All right, perfect. My name is Kevin Norton. I want to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Dundas, and I went to school here all my life. I went to Dundana District, Highland. I completed university through Wilfrid Laurier in Nipissing, and in all the time I spent in Dundas, it's given me a lot, and I think it's time that I give back. Dundas has given me safe parks to play in, it's given me bike trails to travel along, or even just a scenic route. And now I think I finally found a way that I can give back. I know I'm not alone in this room when I say that I'm an avid cyclist, yet Dundas has very few bike lanes available for people, while we do have lots of trails. This is a problem in Hamilton as well, where there are bike lanes, but not all of them are exactly safe for people to travel along. I want to do something to change that. I also am a big supporter of HSR. I want to make sure that people in Dundas have the availability to take any method of alternative transit to be able to get anywhere else in Hamilton. But I'm not here to talk about all that I want. While I do believe that my vision's strong, I'm here for you. I'm here for all the people in Dundas who have a strong vision for what it will become. When I knock on doors, I hear people tell me all the time they have small issues, things that are local to them, things that are maybe easier to fix but can fade away in the details if you look at the grand scheme. And these are things that I want to be able to fix, because in the end, I'll be a civil servant. I'm here at your behest. I'm here to work for you. This is not something I do as a part-time job. This is not something I do as a hobby or for fun or while running a business on the side. I want to work, and I want to work for you. Thank you.
Mark Risdale.
Is it on? Great. Hi, my name is Mark Risdale, and I want to be your next councillor. I'd like to thank all of you for coming tonight. This is a fantastic turnout. I really think it speaks to the engagement of Dundas that you're all here tonight to listen to me and all my friends on a Monday night. I'd also like to thank the Chamber for hosting the event. It's an important event for all of us, and it's a staple on my calendar when I'm on that side of the table. So I'm really glad to be on this side of the table tonight. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I've put together what I think is a really strong and progressive platform. It's something that looks to the future with an eye on the past. Sorry. Practice this sitting down. The thing I think Dundas needs most is a vision. I'm really interested in thinking about what Dundas is going to look like 10 or 20 years from now. It's already a fantastic place to live, but we do face a lot of challenges. We're in the midst of a school closure, a really divisive school closure. There are all kinds of condo projects coming at us all the time. Our population is aging very rapidly, our infrastructure is crumbling, and we have a really, really high rate of poverty. And these are all the things that made me want to run. Now, who am I? Well, I'm a passionate Dundasian. I'm a dedicated father and husband. I'm a very successful engineer, and I'm a really busy volunteer. All of these things have given me the tools I need to be a great councillor. As your councillor, I have 5 priorities, and they're on the cards I've handed out, but basically I'm here for families, for innovation, for diversity, for infrastructure, and for prosperity. These are the priorities that I'm going to push as a councillor to make Dundas, keep Dundas the best place to live in Ontario. I've tried something very different for my campaign. I've kept a very, very modest budget. I've focused on social media, and if you got one of my cards in your mailbox, it's because I delivered it. These shoes were new when I started, and they're falling apart. So, in conclusion, a vote for me is a vote for accountability, transparency, and integrity. I guarantee you 100% open door policy, and I'm really looking forward to sharing my ideas with you tonight. Thank you.
Danya Skyim.
Danya Shime.
Oh, I'm sorry, Shime.
No problem. Thank you again, Chamber of Commerce, for hosting this tonight, and welcome everybody. It's great to see such a great turnout. I ran in 2010, so I didn't do the $1 million walks like some have, and great for you, Rick, for being able to do that. I took a more holistic approach and went to as many different functions that were going on in town to speak with the people outside of their homes, hoping that because there was a larger group, they'd be more apt to speak and ask questions out loud. Part of my platform is the same as 2010 because nothing has changed. One of them being a support service for the seniors. There's many out of there struggling, and we realize that. Seniors that want to stay in their home that are finding the taxes unaffordable. So as a program, like-minded younger folk that need a place to stay will be, if this is up to the senior as well, obviously, go and live with the senior as sort of a hosting family type of idea. What it will do is bring down the seniors' expenses on the monthly basis. It will give them somebody to chit-chat with, and it's been proven that seniors that are isolated are more prone to being ill. So it would be in a low-income way for some of our struggling younger members, and yet also help the seniors. And again, it would be all voluntary. It would be a huge process of obviously screening, but I think it would be something that everybody would appreciate in the long run. I also believe there's so much waste in food that I've worked with, and I'm still working with, larger insurance companies on an umbrella insurance for all of the local businesses, restaurants across not only Dundas but in Hamilton, that the food that does go to waste at night instead is shared, whether it comes here, part of it to the Salvation Army, whether part of it goes to Meals on Wheels to be delivered the next day. The reason a lot of people have stopped donating is simply because they were worried about lawsuits down the road. So now umbrella insurance would be for these people that are donating their food, so that in the event there is a problem, they don't lose their business over it. Parking cards, meter cards, is something I spoke about in 2010, where there'll be approximately 60 hours per month that is free to all the Dundas residents. So instead of change, you'll have like a park pass that you just tap at the meter, and with that you get your hours that you need to get your shopping locally. It also then allows people that are coming from out of town to support the meters and to support all of our businesses as well. Okay, we're going really quick here. I'm against LRT. I believe that Desjardins Canal, that the Hamilton Harbour and the other environmentally sensitive areas that have been polluted need to be cleaned up, most and foremost. And also LRT, if anybody reads anything about Niagara, we now have a new type of train that they are using in Niagara Falls going to Fort Erie, and it is propelled trains. And I've also found a different route rather than ripping up King Street downtown all the way through. My apologies for going over. I have a lot more to talk about, so please feel free to contact me at www.danyafordundas.com. Thank you.
Arlene Vanderbeek.
We all love Dundas. I was born here, raised here, raised my children here. I have lived the many changes that have taken place in this town over the years, and there's more to do. I've contributed to life in Dundas by volunteering on boards and committees and citizen groups and organizations, and also through my years as a Dundas Town Councillor prior to amalgamation. The decision to seek the council seat for Dundas in 2014 was an easy one for me. Over the past 10 years, I have loved what I've done. I loved resolving issues for people. And I've developed relationships and a rapport at City Hall. They know me and they trust me. And we all know that good teamwork is the foundation to success, especially important when we are only one voice on a council of 15 others that we hope to influence. And we have many issues looming, both for Dundas and the larger city. We're under pressure to incorporate infill and intensification here. We have environmental issues. We need to support the city's community climate change action plan. First opportunity to do that will be next Wednesday night right here in this room at 7 o'clock. We have road and traffic issues, taxes, school closures, an aging population, and the importance of building a flexible transit system that works for this community that we can afford. LRT is not a priority for me. And this is not the time for on-the-job training. I am the one candidate who offers you not only a passion for Dundas, new ideas and a new face on City Council, but years of knowledge and experience and a track record of getting things done for Dundas at City Hall. Thank you.
Toby Hill.
Okay, I also, like Mark, I practiced sitting down, so I'm going to stand up, say hi, and then I'm going to sit down and do my talk. Thank you. Hello, Dundas. I am Toby Yell. I'm an idea person with the trained eyes of a designer and 3 decades in my own practice. I want to put my business mind and my designer's eyes into the service of this community to raise the bar and realize some of the great possibilities in Dundas. This election is so important. When an incumbent leaves office after a long, long term, a unique opening is created. An amazing opportunity for a new way of doing things, an updated vision, an agenda, and a chance for some of our many new faces in town to join the discussion. There's so much here to protect and maintain. We all know that. And while keeping that balance, there's room for some big new ideas here in Dundas. I think it's time for some fresh air in this town hall, and I would like to be that fresh air. I have a ton of energy for ideas, for problem solving. I know how to get people excited about an idea, provide leadership, then collaborate with others to get those projects off the back burner. Here are just a few ideas that have cropped up just since I registered to run in July. Why not get a GO bus stop here so people in town can get to Toronto? I met a retired merchant mariner this couple weeks ago at Bertram House, and he said, man, it's easier to sail around the world than it is to get to the GO train from Dundas. Our library is about to get an internal renovation, after which it will still be a single-story building right in the heart of our downtown. Why not start over with something like the new library in Aldershot on Plains Road, built with a classic heritage look in 3 or 4 levels of small-scale and affordable residential space built above it. Maybe build in a community kitchen. We have a problem with getting plans approved for new ventures. How much creativity gets stifled? Hello? How much creativity gets stifled with the endless running around trying to get permits? We could ask 2 or 3 planning and zoning staff to move their desks here from downtown and locate in this town hall so that people at 75 Main Street or anywhere in town could walk in, see the plans, ask their questions, and meet a person. They would understand our town on the ground. They would be eating in our restaurants, getting their coffee in our coffee shops. I like to say we're living in paradise, and we are. However, there are some issues that do need attention. My platform has been posted on my website since September, along with my history of working in development approvals, community development in 3 other cities. Please pick up this page and visit tobyfordundas.com for more information on my platform and me. Thank you.
Alex, can you get that phone turned off? Someone's got that phone ringing. Disrespectful.
Could you please do that? I didn't hear it. No. That's my timer. I have to know. Do you want me to change the ringtone? Sorry about that. But I need to have something to tell me, and so that the candidates know when the time's up. So we'll have the first question from the panelists.
The people would like to know what type of contributions, volunteering, and involvement have you done in the town of Dundas to better the town of Dundas?
So we're going to start with Rick. If you don't mind, I'm going to call him by the first names. We're in a friendly town. First names starting with Rick. 1 minute.
I gotta admit, I don't have a lot of Dundas volunteer experience. If you go back a ways, I was a coach. Certainly, I coached, 20 different teams. But that was a pretty hard thing for me to do because I was commuting to Toronto every day. Unlike everybody else, I didn't work locally. I made my career elsewhere, but I always lived here. So that's the kind of volunteering I did. Now, that's not to say that's the only volunteering I did. I was the chair of the art gallery. On that board for 8 years. I was on the board of Innovation Factory when it got started. There's a number of other things that I helped with from a fundraising standpoint, etc. But Dundas proper, the only thing I can claim to is that I was a very active coach.
Please use the mic.
I'm sorry, you didn't hear me?
Everybody, I mean.
Okay.
Plus, there's 50 people watching at home that can't hear you without the microphone.
I didn't want the screeching, that's why I didn't pick it up.
Pamela, please.
Hello. My volunteer experience is recently with the Dundas Food Bank. I volunteered there out of the goodness of my heart. I didn't do it because I'm running as a candidate. I have volunteer experience in Dundas. I volunteered at the Dundas Community Service, Friendly Calling. And, you know, I have lived in Dundas since 2007, and I'm proud to volunteer in Dundas. I love volunteering. I have volunteered at the Women's Center of Hamilton. I have sat and done a drop-in. I volunteered for that, again, at the Women's Center of Hamilton for a variety of women. I stand up for women, and I stand up for Dundas, and I enjoy volunteering. And, you know, being a candidate here, I enjoy trying to be a candidate for Ward 13. Thank you.
Kevin, please.
Hello? Oh, you can hear me this time. Thank you. So I've done volunteer work at every single school I've had a placement at through my school career. Dundas Central is one of those schools, and I put in some time helping students, helping them with their homework, helping them with anything after school, anything I can get my hands on. And I think it's really better Dundas in the sense that I don't think anyone would ever disagree that children are the future. And anyone who can take the time, who can help children, help mold the future, help mold those minds, is making Dundas a better place. And I respect my fellow teachers, and I respect anyone else who takes the time to volunteer with anyone who is a student in any regard. Thank you.
I mentioned in my opening remarks, I am a really busy volunteer. First and foremost, I volunteer with Dundas Community Services. I post this, probably everybody's familiar with it, but there's a sign in the Memorial Square where there's all the community notices. I post that every Monday. In fact, I posted one today. There's a silent auction, everybody should bid, for St. James. I also am the vice chair of the Hamilton Cycling Committee, which is a committee of council. So I interact with councillors on matters of cycling infrastructure and general safety and all that sort of stuff. That's been really rewarding. That goes with the term of council. So I've done that for 4 years. My term is up now. I'm also vice president of the Hamilton Cycling Club. And my other role with that is I'm the race director for a major fundraising event in the year, which is the Good Friday Road Race, which is actually held in Ancaster. But it's what the money from that goes towards our youth program, where we can loan out bikes to young riders who can't afford to buy their own bikes. I also am a commissaire for the Ontario Cycling Association and was an official at the recent Youth Cup in Ancaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Dania?
I've done so much over the years that I'm sitting here trying to keep track. So we'll go back to, I guess, 1976 when I moved here. 1978, Spencer Valley School class president. We were the first school, I believe, in Ontario that raised funds for cancer research. So that was all over the news back in the day. I'll hop all over the place. I've been the chairperson, past president of the Neuro-Oncology Foundation of Canada when my husband became ill with a brain tumor. My way of trying to help him was obviously get involved. And from there it was pulled out to me that I needed to help them further, which I did, and I kept doing that upon his passing. Being very involved with children, I was also the president of the Hamilton Cooperative Preschool Association, which also had cooperative preschools here in Dundas, and I was the chairperson, past president there, and that was having parents co-op with their children in preschool settings. Let's see, Highland High School was on everything possible while I was a Highland student. Volunteer driver for Dundas School, Dundas District School, Sir William Osler School. I've been a free support services for palliative care here in Dundas for seniors and palliative care.
Thank you.
And on to be Dundas.
Thank you. Arlene?
Yes, thank you. I had to write it out. I chaired the Dundas, all of my volunteer work has been in Dundas, started when I was 12 and we all walked 25 miles to raise money for the indoor pool. Anyway, chair of the library board, on the Rotary Club, Cactus Festival Committee, the Dundas Division of the Chamber, I'm chair of that this year. Can't read my own writing. Cross Melville Heritage Group, the Town Planning Committee, I was deputy chair of the Town's Planning Committee. I sit on the board of the Dundas Museum, organizations like the organizational events like Lobster Fest, Seniors Day, Christmas tree lighting. I'm a founding member of the Dundas Farmers Market and most proud of that. I act as the recording secretary on a volunteer basis for the Dundas Community Council, and in 1986 I proudly joined the group that saved Central School. So I know all about trying to save Parkside School. Thank you.
Toby?
Thank you. I've recently started attending the Dundas Preservation Society meetings, which meet in this building, and I just had a really fun day at the food bank a few weeks ago for my first time. I've always donated and thought, what happens at the other end? And this year I found out. Helped at all the schools my kids attended, and we helped save Dundana School when it was in danger. And of course, we're very proud that Dundana now is not just still going, but almost overfilled. I have served on the engagement committee at City Hall downtown this past year, and this is a committee that's designed to increase and improve the engagement between the city itself, the staff, and the public, with a goal of increasing voter turnout and better communication between civil servants and the public. this is not in Dundas, but I attended all the land use planning meetings for the Barton Tiffany lands, which is our city's waterfront. And when I was there, I was kind of dissed publicly. A guy got up to a microphone and said, gee, there's a lady here that's an interior designer from Dundas. And I was very proud to be there because it is our waterfront that belongs to our entire city. I canvassed for March of Dimes, which helps psych patients, of which there is one in my family.
Thank you, Toby. The next question from the panelists, please.
Thank you. We have a lot of questions in here about intensification, building heights, and development. And we also have a lot of references with regards to a specific proposal across the street, a 9-story, 73-unit apartment building. So let's talk about that specific proposal amidst your overall views of development, intensification, and building heights, please.
We're going to start with Pamela.
I believe that Dundas don't need any more condos. We need affordable housing for low income, for families, singles, and seniors. We don't need Donald Trump towers here. We don't need 9-story, 10-story. We don't need that at taxpayers' expense. It's environmentally disaster. We need to keep green space here in Dundas. The parking alone, okay, is going to be a disaster there. There's not enough parking. People aren't going to give up their cars. And where are we going to put them? On the streets? We need traffic to flow through there. We need cars to get through there. We need bikes to get through there. We don't need more Donald Trump condos. There are 12 condos in Dundas alone.
Thank you, Pamela. Kevin, please.
Look, I believe the spirit at which that the proposal is being put forward is to make the skyline of Dundas not look so much like any other downtown core. Dundas is a unique town. We are like a small town on side of a large town, part of a bigger town, and we want to keep it that way. Nobody wants to see the entirety of Dundas turned into skyscrapers and extremely tall buildings. So yes, I do agree with the proposal. And yes, I do want to see the skyline of Dundas maintained as it is. Now, that being the case, if there's a need for expansion, there's a need for people to be moved into places, there's a need for buildings that house people. We can't just ignore that because we want to maintain certain aspects of our skyline. The proposal is good because it actually maintains what we have in mind, is that we don't have giant skyscrapers, but just buildings that are maintained to their 9 stories. I believe it was 275 feet was the proposal. And that is something that I want to see kept in place.
Thank you. Mark?
Well, I'll refer to my opening remarks. This isn't the first condo proposal that's come to Dundas. It's been really controversial. It's if you've looked at the plans, and Toby and Dania and I have all attended the 2 meetings of the Dundas Preservation project that have been in the old chambers downstairs. And if you look at the plans for this building, it's like incredibly out of scale with the rest of town. It's not that there shouldn't be a building there, and I know there are people that want to keep it a green space, but it's not that there shouldn't be a building there, but that's the wrong building for that space. In the future, I'd really like to continue something like the Dundas Preservation Project and formalize it, make it part of the count. Well, part of my job is to promote this and have basically a standing committee that would review proposals as they came into town, so that we not to fight developers, but to work with developers to make sure we get stuff that works for everybody. So we're not always forming committees and hiring lawyers and fighting each other. It's a really divisive way to run the town.
Thank you, Mark. Dania?
Yeah, I agree with Mark, and some of us have been at the Dundas Preservation Project meetings. I've also contacted the part owner of the green space, and I'm trying to work with him. Unfortunately, he's quite ill right now. So I'm looking at other ways of swaying him to not build actually anything there, but to maybe make it a healing garden, because he is quite ill. And he is a gentle person, so I'm going to keep working on that. As part of a councillor, I would really appreciate everybody being a part of Town Hall, and we will have Town Hall meetings open to the public every month. And if there's a specific area in Pleasant Valley, Hidden Valley, wherever that we want to do a local group in somebody's home, that would also be more than my pleasure to be doing with you. Height restriction came in. Dundas always had its own. It's under the new urban official plan, which I have been butting heads with the city since they opened their mouth about the new urban official plan. Essentially, they're saying one size fits all. I totally agree. It doesn't match here in Dundas. A very simple solution would be bylaw 123. Beside it has a D for Dundas, meaning that our height restriction is 8, not 4.
Thank you. Arlene?
Thank you. Well, we do have a once a month meeting here in Dundas. It's called the Dundas Community Council. And that project came to Dundas Community Council because we do review new projects. Back in June of 2013, what's happened now is they put their application in, and now they're looking for comments on it. So they have Community Council's comments. Now they're looking for public comments from the neighbors. There'll be a further meeting, public meeting under the Planning Act, where they will be looking for comments and input from the rest of the town. So on infill and development, we are going to get it. It's inevitable that we will be dealing with infill here because we have no more space to speak of to have further development. So what we need are strong regulations, not in the official plan, but in the zoning bylaw, and we are getting a new one. And that is our chance, and we need a really strong voice from someone who knows the current regulations, knows what can be done, knows what's hopeless, and can bring that forward in a strong way to affect the new comprehensive zoning bylaw when it's put into effect. Thank you.
Toby?
Well, as a designer, I looked at the plans for the building proposed over here and wondered if the architect had been to Dundas at all, because it did not seem at all suitable to me. And I think that when we add infill, which we must do, I agree, it has to be done with respect, with sensitivity, and with care for the culture and the character of this town. The Ministry of Housing in Toronto, the Ontario Ministry, has said in its Places to Grow legislation that the guiding principle will be compact, vibrant, and complete communities. And compact means intensification. But as someone pointed out at the meeting of the Dundas Preservation, putting 2 people on that land is intensification over what is there now. I don't think we should put 2 people. I think we should put a beautiful, suitable building. One thing that's coming up is that a lot of work gets put into an application that is put in with it doesn't look like much thought was given to the original application. It wasn't suitable. So all this work, all this effort, people meeting on a project that maybe should have been called at the beginning.
Thank you. Rick?
As I said earlier, I'm not in favor of any development that's not in keeping with the character of the town. That being said, we got a vacant lot across the street that should be developed. I'm sorry, it should be developed. I'm not necessarily in favor of a 9-story building, but I am in favor of a building going across the street. Now, that being said, I want to make sure that that building complies with all of our bylaws, and the minute the developer comes to us and asks for a variance, you say no, there's not going to be a variance unless you work with us in making sure this design is more in keeping with the look and feel of Dundas.
Question from the panelists.
If elected, which specific projects would you like to see come to fruition that would improve the lives of Dundas residents?
We will start with Kevin.
The specific project that I've looked at before, and I myself have gone back and forth on it a few times, but I've come to a conclusion. I want to see a form of LRT. Not the current proposal that's ahead, not the one that includes 4 routes, one of which going an express from Water down to here and one of which going up the mountain, but something simple that includes 2 lanes, one up Main, one down King. I think it has the potential, if implemented properly, to really reduce the amount of buses required to go up and down those routes. We started with a pilot project already with bus-only routes. We have the infrastructure in place to, or at least the place to put the LRT routes. It's not going to be the cheapest thing ever, but it's an investment. It's an investment in our future, an investment in transit. And I think alternative transit is something that we need to really invest in, something we need to really look into. Thank you.
Mark?
When we moved to Dundas, one of the things I really loved about our location, I live on Sydenham Street, right across from St. Augustine's, and is that behind us was Central, and across the, well, not quite across the road, but just down the road was Parkside. We've lost Parkside, and it really hurts. You know, I wanted to keep it open. I wanted my son to go there. But what the project I really want to accomplish as a councillor, like in the first 4 years, is I want to buy Parkside and I want to bring it back to the community. I think I know there's potential to put a daycare in there, a senior center, perhaps some like artist studio space, even commercial space for small companies that want to move to Dundas. And there's already a gymnasium there. It's something I really feel strongly about, and I think it's a great project. Thank you.
Danya?
Hard to pick one, but I'll have to go partially with Mark regarding Parkside, and if we can't keep it as a school, being a part of the Giant Ship Discovery Centre, we've talked about even an eco-educational centre because it's against the escarpment, and again, maybe a smaller school, or maybe a Montessori coming into there, or even partnering with Mohawk or MAC on some of their specialized projects that gets some of the students that know what route they want to take in education, that it's open for them, and then also the senior center. There's a gamut of not-for-profit agencies that would love routes included to be in there. Second has to be our roads and getting them fixed properly. Governors became a big mess, and we need to make it friendly for not cyclists, for cyclists, for pedestrians, for seniors with walkers, and with the cars. So there's a couple that are mandated right off the bat that need to be looked at, that I'd like to bring everybody that is at council down to Dundas to see what they do before anything's written on paper, so they understand our uniqueness. Thank you.
Thank you. Arlene?
Thank you. Well, I don't want a new project. I want to finish a project that started and has been held up a bit by conservation. I think we're over the hurdle, but I want to see that arena finished. I want to see that Hockeyville Legacy Room finished, and that's a major fundraising project for the Hockeyville Legacy Committee. But I think that will make a huge difference for the hockey teams that want to have regulation change rooms, good washrooms, and access to all 3 floors of that arena.
Toby?
Well, if Mark hadn't already talked about the Parkside Multi-Use Community Center, I would have, because I love that idea. I guess what I'm going to say in place of that would be infrastructure generally in our town. The infrastructure is what supports our whole community. That would be our parks, our roads, bike paths, sidewalks that work, that continue, that don't just drop you off the edge into the lane of traffic or into a grassy path. Bridges. I have a beautiful thought for bridges at the intersection of Ogilvie and Governors. I call it freeing Spencer Creek because we don't see our creek in this town. And if you try to stand on the bridge, the sidewalk is only about a foot wide on any of the bridges. I see sort of balcony cantilevers that we build out over the creek on those walkways so that the road goes through and there are places to put benches and actually sit and look over the edge and enjoy. People are fishing right now because the salmon are running, and I'm seeing people on the bridges, which you don't usually do. Very hard to see the water. So opening up Spencer Creek and sewers, drainage, and those unromantic things
Thank
to
you, Toby.
deal with 100-year storms.
Thank you. Rick, please.
Sorry. I'm in complete agreement with Mark on the turning Parkside into a community center. We can't allow that to fall into other hands, particularly developers' hands. But my project, my number one project, would be to gut Governor's Road and rebuild it right from Osler all the way up to probably to Davidson. It was poorly thought out, poorly constructed. It's falling apart. That would be my number one project.
Pamela, please.
I would like to see the roadways and sidewalks repaired and made better accessible for wheelchairs and scooters and people with walkers. I'd like to see the bridge there repaired and made a lot more nicer for people to cross and safer. I'd also like to see the beginning of that parquet there that Russ has, that I have asked Russ to put in. I'd like to see the completion of that parquet. I think that's a beautiful thing for people here in Dundas. And like I said, I don't want to see any more condos. And I would like to see signs put up. Seniors crossing for safer walkways. I'd like more signs to put up for the market so that people...
Thank you, Pamela. To the panelists, question, please.
The city of Hamilton just passed a plan for building an age-friendly Hamilton. How would you go about making Dundas more age-friendly than it already is?
We're going to start with Mark.
Well, that's a great question, and I think Dundas really is already quite age-friendly, I should say. Talking door to door to people love the walkability in downtown Dundas. You can get across town in about 20 minutes, and there are intersections that are problems, certainly, but you never really feel in that much danger. I was the first candidate in all of Hamilton to actually take the Active Communities Pledge, which is, it's similar to the age-friendly concept where you pledge to devote yourself to implementing complete streets. And I know probably Dania and Toby are going to talk about it as well. But complete streets basically mean that everything is integrated, you feel safe, and you're happy to be there. And it's great for Dundas because it'll attract people to town. And that's it.
Thank you. Dania?
Age-friendly housing. Mixed housing is something that Dundas has actually been known for years. So prior to a lot of the new rules, regulations in the core, we had our mixed usage where we had commercial on the main level and then mixed residential upstairs. A part of my Seniors with Seniors or Seniors Helping Youth, hospitality suites would include this idea. And also, yes, there is a mandate through the Places to Grow provincial policy statement that is trying to encourage more senior-friendly homes and housing, and also those for those on a lower income. So a way to continue this is by actually doing what Dundas has done best for many years and keeping what we've done by allowing this to continue to grow in the routes that Dundas Town Council started way back when, and Hamilton's not inventing this. Dundas has been doing it for years, and we need to encourage to keep it going in that route. Thank you.
Arlene?
Thank you. Yes, Dundas has long, since Dundas Town Council days, been very interested in pedestrian ways, making sure Dundas is walkable. The BIA manages a bench program downtown. The city maintains them, so there are lots of benches downtown. We're very careful about making sure that new development downtown, and I don't mean new buildings, I mean things like infrastructure repairs are done according to the regulations to make sure that sidewalks are appropriate. We have some busy signal, you'll notice them at the four corners for the banks, where now the walk signal goes on before the red light. You'll probably notice it because people are going through the red light. But things like that we've been very conscious of, and we will continue to do that. The buildings have to be accessible under the law. That will happen over time. I think that, what have I missed? Oh, and the other thing is that we're working towards audible stoplights, audible walk signals, so that people can get across if they have things like macular degeneration. Thank you very much.
Toby?
Well, with respect, I don't think we can brag about our sidewalks in this town at all. I see people come down Governors, turn the corner and go straight into the traveled portion of the road with walkers because there is no sidewalk. Having said that, I think the age-friendly plan is just way more exciting than what we're talking about here. It is a plan that was generated with a lot of input from people and now received by City Council. It's a community plan. It wasn't generated by the city and sent downward. It was sent upward from the people who put it together. And as a councillor, the next step for the plan is that it goes to an implementation plan, and then it can actually take place and roll out. As a councillor, my first move would be to invite all the parties, and that would be the library, the Active 55 Plus group, the Dundas Community Services, plus, very importantly, anyone else who is interested in being involved to form a committee to meet and grow this plan. Because it's not just about what the government does, it's what everybody does that will make this a truly age-friendly community. I've met so many people who are seniors in town and new ones saying, I want to do more than play cards. Where do I go?
Thank you, Toby. Rick?
One of my key platforms is utilizing our experience, and what I meant by that was that we have about 30% of our population are senior citizens in Dundas. And there's a lot of people that have got a lot of experience in a lot of different professions. And I don't think that we make an effort to reach out to those people and say, how can you help us? How can you, can you join this committee, this age-friendly committee, and show us what needs to be done? Like, obviously the politicians don't have the answers, neither did the committee that wrote the age-friendly report. But I think the people that actually live in this town, that are senior citizens, will be able to tell us. One of the things for sure, though, I think we have to watch is traffic, trucks in particular. I think they're not allowed downtown already, but we have to make sure we enforce that, because we don't need heavy trucks running through the main street of town and still call it an age-friendly city. So.
Thank you. Pamela?
We need to keep Dundas the way it is in regards to the beauty of it. We need to advertise that. We need to bring businesses to the forefront. Weekends, car parking. I said in Facebook, reloadable pay pass for parking, like Tim Hortons card. You reload it, you tap. It's time for this. You tap it, and when you park there, when you leave, you re-tap it again. You go online, you can reload it with a Visa, MasterCard. You get the card free at City Hall, and you load it from $5 to $75. And free parking on weekends and holiday Mondays. We need to advertise Dundas. It's a beautiful place. We need to stop wasting taxpayers' money. We need to bring people into Dundas.
Thank you, Pamela. Kevin, please.
Thank you. I think we are pretty good as a town right now. And there's room for improvement, and this is something very personal to me. Just last week, my grandfather himself was with a walker traveling on a place that didn't have a sidewalk, and he had a spill, and only by courtesy of a neighbor we had was able to get his way home. I see that a lot when people are struggling with mobility, and Rick is right. The people who are going to be able to tell us exactly where the issues are and exactly where we need to implement different sidewalks, where we need to fix the issues the best, are the people who are living in the community itself. And I would absolutely support and encourage a community council that would tell me what I can do to make those areas more safe and more accessible and more age-friendly. Thank you.
Question from the panelists.
We all agree that Dundas is a great place, but there's many people asking about poverty and children and as well as seniors in Dundas. And what would you do to support Hamilton being a living community as well as food security for people?
We're going to start with Danya.
Well, I got into this briefly earlier about the umbrella and all of our local restaurants that do have food left over, that they go to a community area that they are brought out for the next day for our less fortunate. I've also talked about the senior plan and having seniors there might be other seniors that want to stay in their home, and that they can have either it's an apartment downstairs where there's a tax credit given, so that is done, and it's done to code to allow the seniors to stay in their homes. Or an alternative would be maybe a young mother and her young child while mom's going back to school and needs a lower income place to live that is sharing with a senior that's in their home. And again, it's a win-win for the senior and for the young mom. And again, intergenerational education for children is an amazing thing. It allows them to have more respect for our seniors, something that I know is lacking in some of our youth out in this area. All the way around, working with the seniors. Most of you know me because I have worked with you or gone to your homes, and that would continue obviously down the road. Thank you.
Arlene?
Thank you. Well, we often miss poverty, but we do have it, even in Dundas. And I want to say that the people who deal with this reality are to be commended. And there are many organizations in the city and here in Dundas who take that project on, and I would do everything to support them. The other thing is that the city has taken some initiatives recently, in recent months, to do things that will help neighborhoods to build on their own ability to help their own poverty areas. There's something called a neighborhood, I think it's called neighborhood projects in Hamilton, and they are also taking people and teaching them how to grow food and how to cook food, and not just helping them to eat, but helping them to learn how to be sustainable in their ability to deal with things. And the housing and homelessness 10-year plan has initiatives in it that I think will help with this sort of thing too. Thank you.
Toby?
I'm hearing from people that we do need a lower cost grocery store in town. We have two versions of the same store. That's not really what I wanted to start with. I mentioned a community kitchen possibly being built in the upper floors of a potential library that could be built. But maybe there's a community kitchen in a church, or could happen in the Salvation Army building. But I have a friend in Caledonia who's a retired home ec teacher, and what a bundle of energy. She has created a program in Caledonia where she teaches nutrition and what to cook with what's in the food bag from the food bank. She's an amazing woman. She was great as a teacher, and in her retirement she is spreading love. So she gathers maybe half a dozen young mums who are on very low incomes and have kids to feed, and she shows them how to make a nutritious meal out of what's in the bag that gets dropped off or that you get to pick up at the food bank, and teaches them that you can add, you can go to the bulk store and buy 5 cents worth of some spice to make it be great. In any case, the other thing they do is a monthly community dinner served to people with servers with tablecloths like a restaurant
Thank
style.
you, Toby. Rick, please.
First on nutrition, I'm in favor of programs like the Healthy Start program, where kids are given a nutritious breakfast to start their day. Studies have proven that that's a really good way to increase people's kids' concentrations, and they'll do better in school. With respect to poverty in general, though, I'm in favor of measures that will help eradicate poverty one day. That includes things like living wage, affordable bus passes, maybe affordable daycare. Those are the things I'm in favor of. I'm not in favor of additional low-income housing. Not as long as we have the provincial funding formula that we currently have. Hamilton has 1/3 of its budget being devoted to social services costs. Did you know that Burlington has no low-income housing? They have a much lower percentage of expense than we do, and that's because it was downloaded to us by the province. I don't want Dundas or Hamilton be the best place to be poor. I want it to be the place where people will stop being poor. Thank you.
Panel.
I believe in geared to income housing for singles, families, and seniors. I would like to have more affordable housing for low income. I would like the city to recognize that people need these things more than condos. The food banks are a good idea. I believe they should give grocery cards along with the food bank items because not all items are accessible to people with families. They don't give out eggs or milk or meat. And I believe the food banks are a good solution. And also the churches on Mondays, they have free meals for low income. I think that's a good program. Also, the Good Food Box is $15. The community can donate for a family or seniors. I believe that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin?
I want to see something done about the breakfast programs at schools. A school I currently volunteer at right now, several students take advantage of the program. And for one class with 20 students in it, they were given 7 pears, 3 apples, and 8 cheese strings that they were able to cut in half and give to these kids. The pears and the apples are maybe nutritious, but we can do more. We can do more to give these kids a better start in the morning. And it's something that I would like to see enacted, something I want to see put into place. I also want a different option for grocery stores. As it was mentioned already, we have 2 nearly identical grocery stores which sell things at the exact same prices. There are other options. There are other places. And now there's nothing we can do about it. We can't just tell one place to pack up and go. But it is possible that we could have a 3rd grocery store in another area. It's all I have. Thank you.
Mark, please.
Thank you. Earlier I mentioned that one of my priorities is prosperity. Originally when I was drafting my platform, that actually read reduce poverty. I wanted to put a more positive spin on it. Fighting poverty is something that's really, really important to me. When I lived in Toronto, I was an order picker and a screener for the Daily Bread Food Bank, and it really opened my eyes. My mom runs a food bank in Sudbury, and she has just horror stories to tell me every week. I mean, it's brutal. I was listening to the mayor's debate earlier today that was put on by the People's Platform, and I was really encouraged to hear that all the 3 main contenders are going to put their weight behind affordable housing. Look at things like density bonusing and inclusionary zoning. Living wage is important, and I think we need to talk to the federal government, like we need to advocate as a city at the provincial level and the federal level to make them act, well, at the provincial level to make sure that they act on their poverty strategy, and at the national level to implement a poverty strategy. It's something they don't have, and it's I think we're the only major like G8 country that doesn't have one. It's ridiculous. So finally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to have a question from the panelists.
Do you support the LRT, and if so, what benefit, if any, will it bring to Dundas?
We're going to start with Arlene.
Thank you. everyone knows that what we really need is a functional transit system. One that gets us from point A to point B and connects us to go to point C, wherever that is. And so LRT itself is not a priority for me. It's a priority for me that we have a transit system that works for our community and the larger city that we can afford. Thank you.
Toby?
My view of transit is that transit can transform because it allows people to get to work, to get to jobs, and my main thinking on this is we don't know if LRT will come to Hamilton. It's years away. I don't see it as being, in the next 5 minutes tied to this election. However, rapid transit needs to come beyond McMaster, bring it to the University Plaza, bring it to Dundas. I think Dundas would feel very insulted if the big project of the 2000s ended just outside our front door. There's a bit of a hub at University now, and I don't care if it's a bus or a train that comes there, but how many people in Dundas can get themselves to the University Plaza on maybe a short minibus that makes quick rounds up into the Pleasant Valley and Watsons and into the neighborhoods up Governors, has frequency, brings people down to the hub, get on either a bus or a train, we don't know yet, and we can't know yet exactly what it'll be, and get into McMaster, get into downtown, get into the waterfront, go have dinner at a restaurant and come back, or go to the stadium. Thank you.
Rick, please.
No. LRT that's on the table stops at McMaster. It doesn't come to Dundas, and it's never going to come to Dundas because we've got a big hill in the way. It also doesn't go to the brand new GO station. So anybody that wants to take transit down to the GO station and get into Toronto, it's useless to them too. They'll end up taking 3 or 4 trains. My biggest concern though is that Dundas needs some improvement in its local transit. And if we spend $1 billion building an LRT that goes between McMaster and Eastgate, there will be no money left for any transit improvements in Dundas or anywhere else, the mountain as well. So no, I'm dead against it.
Pamela, please.
I don't believe that Dundas needs the LRT. We don't need this. It's like a big subway going down the middle of the road. Environmentally, it's a disaster. And you know what, taxpayers? I'm speaking to you today. Do you want to fit the bill for this? It's not like, oh, Ontario government, please give me some more money. We want money for our bus. No. The government, don't look for them, Mrs. Wynne or whoever's in the government, to hand over money to Dundas or Hamilton. Let's wake up and get real here, okay? No games. Taxpayers are on the bill for this. That's the reality of it. I don't want it. It's better bus service. The Dundas 52A needs to come into Dundas and get people up to University Plaza. I was the one that got the bus up on Governor's Road on the weekend.
Thank you.
We need better bus service.
Thank you, Pamela. Kevin?
I mentioned before, I do support LRT in a slightly modified way in which it currently stands. I think the benefit it stands to Dundas is the fact that we pay some of the highest property taxes in Hamilton, and a lot of property taxes goes to paying for the maintenance and upkeep of buses, their salaries of the drivers, and the maintenance of the bus routes. Yet we don't take very much advantage of it. If there's LRT, it takes some of the pressure off the buses that are downtown. We're not going to throw the buses out. And we're not going to fire the drivers immediately. It allows buses to go to other places, bring people from Dundas into the rest of Hamilton, roads provided. So the benefit the LRT stands is that it allows more buses to come here and for us to actually get what we pay for in property taxes. Thank you.
Mark, please.
Thank you. Well, I knew this was going to come. I mean, it's no secret that LRT is probably the #1 issue in Hamilton, this election, you know, whether it's a real issue or if it's something that's been sort of fabricated. I don't mean fabricated, but been pumped by the press to separate people from each other. But the important thing, well, I should state publicly that I, like the Chamber of Commerce, support LRT, but because the main reason is because I want to see our property taxes go down. The only way you're going to lower property taxes is either to reduce services, decrease the value of your property, or increase the value of the properties downtown. Because of the way our property taxes are calculated, if you increase the value of the properties downtown, our taxes go down relatively. So what we need to focus on, you know, BRT, LRT, whatever, what's important is economic development downtown. And that's how we're going to like keep a lid on taxes and really benefit ourselves. Now, there's going to be the added benefit that downtown will be a nice place to go finally. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Danya, please.
No, I'm absolutely against the way LRT is planned right at this moment. Sorry, Chamber. I know and understand some of your reasonings why. I do believe that we do need Rapid Ready, and we need to have it coming all the way into Dundas. And what I propose is some of our DARTS buses that are running on deficits, that we use them as shuttles for our localing Dundas neighbours that come from possibly the other end of Governor's Road, Hidden Valley, Pleasant Valley, up the other side of Old York Road, and they're used to shuttle us within Dundas, having drop-off points in front of Grafton Square or in front of the Big Shoppers Drug Mart, etc., to keep at least our seniors and those that want to stay transit-friendly on a smaller transit version that also takes them to a stop over at MAC and eventually have a bus rapid transit in that area that we can also access through the rail trail on our bikes or walk to, that again must go to downtown GO station for the people that want to go to Toronto.
Thank you, Danya.
Thank you.
We're going to have one last question from the panelists, and then we're going to go to closing remarks.
How will you work with the school board and our next trustee to find the best use for Parkside School and prepare the community for the next ARC process for our elementary schools?
We're going to, I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please, Keenan?
How will you work with the school board and our next trustee to find the best use for Parkside School and prepare the community for the next ARC process for our elementary schools?
We're going to start with Toby.
I have to say I'm really disappointed at the way the city failed to liaise with the school board in the past. The city council directed that a committee be struck to do that liaison, and it didn't. I think it met once. Many people were absent. It really wasn't a functional committee, and it kind of tapered off and died. And in the last few years, we've seen such destructive things happen in our city. That loss of Parkside is one, but look at there's Delta and there's Sir John A. Macdonald, and some of the plan, buying a school, selling it back, buying it back again, tearing it down to build a parking lot, $25,000 per parking space. There's some crazy stuff going on, and that doesn't even touch tearing down the education center downtown. And so I would have to say we'll have probably about a 3/4 new population on the school board this time. A lot of people are running and a lot of people walked away. So there is a new opportunity going ahead to have that liaison, to have that connection. I had a meeting 2 months ago with someone who expects to be the new trustee because he wanted to meet with who he thought would be the new councillor. Thank you.
Rick? That's interesting, because I met with the same guy and he said the same thing to me. Anyway, number one priority there is to make sure that Parkside ends up in city hands. Parkside ends up a community center for the good of the entire community of Dundas. I will work with the trustees on that. I will work with the other city councillors on that to make sure that there's budget for it and make sure this becomes a real project.
Pamela?
I don't want to see any more schools closed in Dundas. We don't need to send the kids to Hamilton to schools where there are gangs where it's out of touch for Dundas. We need to keep our families here, for our parents, for our single parents, for our grandparents, for their caregivers. I believe that we should turn the school into a center for teenagers and seniors and low income, that they have a place where they can go and connect with the community. And I believe that possibly if the city would allow it, Dundas agrees to it, that possibly there could be a geared to income apartment put on top of the building so that it would be for low income seniors, 55 and older.
Thank you,
I think that would be a good resource.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, please.
I think most important to keep in mind here is communication. I know a few people, or actually quite a lot of people, want to save Parkside in a school form. In reality, it's the indecisiveness that's costing the most amount of money. Every year that people can't decide what to do with the center is another year that deferred maintenance gets put off, that millions or thousands are spent in just keeping the place open. I think if we need to decide what to do with it, I need to communicate with whoever the next school board trustee is of 1314, and I'd like to put together some sort of committee that doesn't fall apart, hopefully, in terms of locals that can tell us what they want to see done with the center, because in the end it's going to be their center and their decision if we can keep it part of city hands. Thank you.
Mark?
Well, I've already spoken about Parkside, so I'll let that rest where it is. I am very concerned, again, as a parent, really very concerned about the next ARC review that's coming up. I think it's in 2017. I think we all know that one of the schools is going to close, and I don't want any of them to close. There are economies of scale, of course, when you have bigger schools, but small local schools are really important. I want to see kids walk and bike to school. You know, pardon? Sorry. Sorry about that. And like I was saying, beyond that, like I was saying earlier, I'm looking at Dundas 10 and 20 years from now. The thing that's important to me is looking at the new high school and making sure it stays open for when my son wants to go there, for when your grandkids want to go there. It's projected to actually be under capacity by about 2023, I think. So we need to think about that. We need to make Dundas family friendly, get kids in here, and keep the schools full. That way they stay open.
Thank you, Mark. And Danya, please.
Well, I went to the actual first Dundas Valley Secondary School parents meeting just to see what was said. And yeah, there is mixed reviews. And moving forward, we're trying to find out what's best for our children. In a perfect world, I think what we'd really like to do is have the two campuses stay open. What may happen is a mixture of the campus that has maybe a specialty, sciences and maths only. Right now, speaking to a lot of the parents and the children, they don't like the busing back and forth between. So they do 2 classes in the morning and then have to shuttle back to the other school in the afternoon. So there's ways around that. It needs to be tweaked if that's what the will of Dundas is. And if it's a 50-50 split from what I've seen. I firmly believe that the board, school boards and the council have to work together in partnership. Your tax dollars, my tax dollars paid for those schools, so they should remain in our community. If we do end up only having to have the one school, I firmly believe we should have a brand new school, and that way it's what Dundas gets to keep in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Arlene, please.
Thank you for the question. A good part of my campaign has been about engagement. The promise I can make to you is that going forward, I will engage the community and neighborhoods. So the first thing that I intend to do is to talk to the neighbors surrounding Parkside. I'd like to know what their fears are. I'd like to know what their ideas are. Good ideas don't necessarily come from me as a councillor. They come from the grassroots up. Those are the people with the challenges. They're the people who know what's going on in their neighborhood. And then further meetings with the community to discuss the possibility that Parkside may indeed close. There's a possibility. And yes, there is a board, council board liaison committee. That committee has faltered because the board would not cooperate. So we are going to have new board members, and perhaps this time they will. And we will deal with the new ARC, and we will partner those people with people who've already been through the process, and they've spent years, Parkside Group, working through the process. So I am going to be encouraging and assisting, but I commit to try and get Parkside to stay in public hands
Thank you,
or
Arlene.
private hands that work for the community. Thank you.
So that ends our questions from the panelists. We're going to move to the closing remarks. Each candidate has 1 minute. And I'm going to start with Toby, please.
Thank you. I'm going to stay seated. Friends, I regret that the format tonight did not allow for open questions from the floor. However, I am getting open questions by phone every day. People are surprised when I answer my phone at home, or they're surprised when I call them back or answer their emails. You don't survive 30 years in business without responding to people and communicating with your customers. I've actually been able to solve some problems that people have called in to me. It's getting almost funny. I make my phone calls to City Hall every day or two. I track things down. I call back to a resident, put them together with somebody they need to talk to. I have files of things I'm working on now and another file of great ideas for later when I'm elected. I have a photo file of sidewalks that are crumbling, missing entirely. I have a file on the high number of young adults in town with Down syndrome for whom there's no programming after they graduate high school, or the recent string of break-ins in homes in Cascades and Davidson areas. The fact that Creekside Drive is still not assumed by the city 4 years after completion of the final tower. So residents are paying twice for snow clearing and garbage pickup. This is what I mean about raising the bar.
Thank you. Arlene, please.
Thank you. Here's what I offer you. My passion for Dundas, my background in planning and zoning and team development and business, in municipal administration in 3 different city halls, my years as a Dundas Town Councillor, coupled with my experience, my knowledge, my long-standing dedication to Dundas, my understanding of the issues, my proven ability to accomplish things for you at City Hall. That is why you can put your trust in me and elect me as your Dundas councillor. Together, we'll continue to preserve the past and protect the future of Dundas and keep it thriving. Thank you for taking your time to come tonight. I'd like to thank the Chamber for doing this event again, as they always do. And when you vote, I'm asking for your support. I'm Arlene Vanderbeek. Thank you.
Danya?
Thank you. Well, again, most of you know that I ran in 2010 because I felt I was very well ready and able to be your new councillor then. Since that time, I've been on every board I can possibly be on or listen to. Seen some of my fellow candidates at some and some at others, and not all of them at all of them. I don't know why, but that's okay. Moving forward, I've been a Dundas resident since '76. Business owner for 30 years. More importantly, 15 years working on the outside in with City Hall, trying to resolve some of the issues that are still left over from amalgamation that need to be resolved. I'm also the one that's been around and known and spoken with you face to face on our sidewalks, and that's where I want to be. My phone is always on and attached to my hip, and that will certainly continue. And your voice is your vote for me. And from there, we echo down to City Hall with passion, pride, and tenacious person that I am, not ever giving up. Vote for Dan Yashime on October 27th. Thank you.
Mark, please.
So being a great councillor is about developing great relationships. And even just in the short time that I've been campaigning, I've actually built really nice relationships with all these people here. And I think they all deserve a round of applause at the end of this, because it's not easy doing this. And so, back to my notes. I have a strong track record of building the sort of relationships that lead to mutually beneficial results. I want to work really hard with council and with staff to drive economic development, cut waste, eliminate unnecessary bureaucracy, and really elevate the culture at City Hall. We can free up and empower some valuable resources, and by doing that, we can deliver a cost-effective services and put a lid on taxes. On October 27th, I'm asking for your vote, and thank you again for coming. It's been great.
Kevin, please.
I've run my campaign as much as I can on a campaign of trust and honesty. Every person that I've come to talk to, I think I've built a personal connection with them when I knock on their door. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not so much. But I find that a lot of people say that the only time that they've seen someone to speak to on these issues is every 4 years. These are the people that usually don't have something specific that they want to bring to City Council, but something that they just thought about when somebody came to see them. I want to make sure that I am always available, that anyone can come talk to me, can call me day or night. I want to be available always because I want to work for the people of Dundas and I want to work for all of you. So please consider voting for Kevin Norton on October 27th. Thank you.
Pamela, please.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I want to stand up for the taxpayer at City Hall. I would like you to vote for me October 27th. I will be there at the City Hall for you Monday to Friday with any concerns. And I don't want to waste taxpayers' money. We need to get better service out here in Dundas for the taxpayers. You pay for it, you deserve it. As Dundas citizens, I want to stand up for you and be a voice at City Hall. I don't want any more waste of taxpayers' dollars. I want the books to be accountable to the taxpayer once a year to see what you pay for. I want to listen to people and make fair choices for the Dundas town. I want to keep Dundas services like the garbage once a week, recycling. I want to have better community for families, singles, and seniors.
Thank you. Rick, please.
I love having the last word. It doesn't happen at home very often, but I still love having the last word. We all love Dundas, but like it or not, we're also part of Hamilton. A major corporation with operating capital budget of $1.9 billion and thousands of employees. Voters must recognize that they are not just electing a community representative. They are electing one of 16 members of the board of directors of this major corporation. The board member must constantly be mindful of the needs of our community, but must also be able to see the big picture. He has to help Hamilton prosper so that Dundas prospers. I have the experience required of a city councillor with specific expertise in finance and budgeting. I can talk to prospective employers at their level and encourage them to relocate to Hamilton. No, I have not had any political experience or I know nothing about the inner workings of City Hall. My job will be to fight bureaucracy and not work around it. I will never forget my primary mandate, to represent the people of Dundas. I will continue to listen and carry your voice to City Hall. Thank you.
Thank you all. I'm going to ask for Allison to come back up and wrap this meeting up. And just for the record, that chime is called Old Phone, and I thought most of us could identify with it, so that's why I chose it.
Yes, it's old phone and not old phony. So, Alex and I go way back. Anyway, a couple of things. First of all, on behalf of the Dundas Division of the Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to take the time to thank the 7 candidates. They've all been very busy canvassing over the last number of months, and everyone is sincere and everyone is most worthy. Thank you for spending so much time. We know you love our community. Thank you. Also, on behalf of the Dundas Division Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to thank the 4 panelists who took the questions on paper from the floor and asked the questions, posed the difficult questions, and took the time out of their evening. Thank you very much. Also to Alex, this guy, total grace under pressure because he didn't have any timer. So thank you, Alex. You were very smooth and very cool. And mainly thank you. Without the audience, where would we be? You've been great. Thank you for taking time and coming out and being so engaged in your community. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Drive safe.
Thank you everyone who tuned in tonight, watched this debate live. It was a very interesting debate. First opportunity that I had personally to hear from these candidates. It's been a very busy election cycle. Make sure to watch on Wednesday, live from McMaster University, where the McMaster student newspaper, The Silhouette, will be live streaming a mayoral debate. And that's the last public mayoral debate. So my challenge to all of you at home is reach out to your friends, your family, get them to vote. Burlington already has 10% of eligible voters with ballots in the box from the advanced polls. So let's make sure to beat them. Thank you again for watching, and have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
So the whole world was going, watching it.
Oh, excellent. Were you watching over the Wi-Fi? Okay, so that probably explains why. Okay, not a problem. I had some bandwidth issues at one point. I was trying to fix them. It could have been if there were a lot of people watching in the building, but no worries. It's all good.